This is season 3 of the DraftKings Life Podcast. We're back like Jordan in the 4-5. I'm Jason Jones, Senior Recruitment Marketing Specialist, and I'm joined by my co-host, Meg Powers, Talent Acquisition Specialist. New job title alert. I see you, Meg P. How are your holidays?
I'm good. Holidays were good. Thank you for pointing out the new title. Very excited. So I just got back 2 weeks ago in Boston. So was home for a while, got to spend some really great quality time with the family. So I was super lucky. Nice little switch up to be back in Boston though. What have you been up to? I miss seeing you.
I'm seeing you too. No, it's not the same. A whole lot of just catching up on rests, low key, caught up on laundry too, finally adulting. Real talk, I am bad at keeping up with popular TV shows. So Bridgerton, Queen's Gambit, and that's just Netflix. Like I'm bad. So unlike most people, like spoilers welcome. But I did listen to a ton of podcasts. But most importantly, looking forward to season 3.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I finished all of the shows so early during the holidays. I had nothing to do for the second half. But I am also really excited for season 3. You know, time flies when you're having fun. And this season's going to be extra special, I'd say. We have some fun new updates, format changes, as always, new guests to feature as well.
I know everyone may be expecting a new guest this week, but you're stuck with Meg and I because I don't think we've ever talked about ourselves. And so this episode will give you a chance to learn about our DraftKings experience.
Before we get into our interview this week, let's talk hot jobs at DraftKings.
Hot jobs.
We will feature a few jobs on every episode to shine a light on some of the roles that we're looking to fill.
First up, we have a principal software engineer on the iOS team. The role is open on our website in Dublin and Boston, but we also would definitely consider remote options. The role sits on our growing daily fantasy sports engineering team and would be one of the most senior iOS people we have. A very exciting role, Meg.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Next, I'd love to talk about one of my own jobs that I'm hiring for. So if we have any lead copywriter candidates out there, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. This one's pretty special. The successful candidate will be a strategic and conceptual copywriter with clear marketing strengths and a love for sports. You will help write and lead others in development of broadcast, digital, and mobile advertising. The ideal candidate is 8+ years of experience, and this will definitely be a leader on this team, even though it's an individual contributor. At agencies, this role can sometimes be called an associate creative director, but here at DraftKings, the title is a lead copywriter. Really exciting stuff over here. Excited for our applicants to check them out.
Let's go. Apply to the roles.
Every week, we will also be giving company news updates and share recent announcements during our DraftKings Now pregame report.
DraftKings Now pregame report.
Got to keep our listeners in the know with all things happening at DK.
This week, we have some pretty exciting things happening. Obviously, everyone here is getting ready for the Super Bowl. Just in time for that, we have a few updates. DraftKings recently announced the launch of its mobile sportsbook and casino app in the Great Lakes state of Michigan. Doesn't that state look like a thumb to you, Meg? Or like a mitten, I think?
Yeah,
but still exciting news there. We also just announced the launch of DraftKings Sportsbook in Virginia. Let's go, VA, marking the 12th state in which the top-rated mobile and online sportsbook is available. Big things.
Huge updates here. We will also have an exciting update coming in a future podcast episode that will touch on how DraftKings is supporting our mission around inclusion, equity, and belonging. Tune in February to learn more. So yes, Jonesy and I realized we have never actually introduced ourselves. We just kind of started the podcast and, started introducing everybody to great coworkers that we have inside DraftKings. But I'll start by giving my own little intro. So my name's Meg. Some people call me Meg. Some people call me Megan. I'm from upstate New York originally. Went to University of Delaware for undergrad. Today is definitely a great day to be a Blue Hen. We're recording this on Inauguration Day for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So super excited about that. I've been at DraftKings since 2018, June of 2018, and really getting close to that 3-year mark.
Nice. I'm Jason. I go by Jonesy, Jonsey. I've seen it spelled multiple ways, just setting it straight for the record. Born and bred in Boston, no accent, and attended University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. Started at DraftKings in October of 2018, so coming up on 2.5 years. But Meg, how did you get started at DraftKings?
Yes, now that I'm looking at the way you spell it, I think you just spelled it wrong. But I've always spelled it a lot of different ways too. So Jonsey?
Yes. Did I spell it wrong?
Yes.
I know my own nickname, Jonesy. Thank you, Meg.
You got it. So I started at DraftKings as a candidate experience associate. Originally it was called a recruiting coordinator when I started. So there was only about under 400 people at that time. And now there's over 2,000. So it was an exciting time to be joining because I was dealing with all of the interviews that we were running at the time. I did everything from scheduling to handling candidates when they would come on site. And that was a majority of what I did when I started. So I guess I'll turn around and ask you the same thing. How did you get started at DraftKings?
I was approached by a headhunter about my role. And so it was a recruitment marketing role. And I honestly didn't know what to expect. I'd seen like the big, if you're local to Massachusetts or at least Boston, there's a big South Station, which is a big transit hub, take over. You saw DraftKings everywhere, Gronk everywhere. And that was my first foray. Was not a big DFS user. I think I played maybe once prior to joining the company, but now I'm hooked on it. But pleasantly surprised by how supportive and nice and welcoming the team was. And so, it's been one hell of a ride and hope it never ends. What did you study in school, Meg, by the way? And did you always know you wanted to be a talent acquisition specialist?
So I was a communications major in school. I actually started at Delaware undecided. I think I originally thought I was going to be a teacher and then quickly realized that that was not the path for me. So knew I was good with people, ended up in comm major, marketing, advertising minor. Actually out of school, I was dead set on needing to work in a marketing agency or advertising agency, something like that.
Me too. I thought that'd be like a Mad Men in New York, but I was young and naive back then.
Right. I knew Boston. That was really all I had. And I think overall, what I now realize I was more looking for the culture that I thought came with a marketing or creative agency than anything else. The amount of resumes I sent out after graduation is actually insane. And if I only knew what I knew now. But I eventually started as a temp working as a receptionist, administrative assistant for a corporate real estate company until I found DraftKings. So how about you? Have you always been in recruitment marketing?
So I actually got started in retail banking. When I graduated, it's towards the tail end of the economic recession. So pretty hard to get a job, especially for a marketing major coming out of a small school. So got a job in retail banking. So I knew my student loan payments were on the horizon. And it was tough back then. It was tough. Big banks were definitely kind of a shared enemy of the people, and being yelled at, hey, where's my money? Where's my money? When you're fresh out of school, was tough. And so I was actually recruited away to what's called an RPO, so recruitment process outsourcing company, where companies will turn to these companies to really outsource their recruiting process. And so I got started as a candidate sourcer, where I would find candidates based off of requirements by the hiring manager at that company. and it was my job to go and find people who weren't necessarily looking for a role. Back then, we used to use Monster and Career Builder. Now, given how the internet has evolved, there are other ways of finding people. There's more niche communities depending on the industry that you're finding top talent. But back then, you had to use some creativity to get people on the hook, especially if you're reaching out cold about an opportunity that's on the horizon. How are you going to draw them in? And so I didn't know that was a form of recruitment marketing. But looking back, you were just, how can I get creative to get someone on the hook to kind of get them interested? And so that's where my love for recruitment marketing began. And I've always done it along the way in my career, even as I transitioned to other sourcing roles, tech recruiting roles. I would do bits and pieces of recruitment marketing along the way because it was and still is a passion of mine.
I actually remember when you started at DraftKings, or like within my first few weeks, I had mentioned, do we have anyone running our social media accounts or whatever? So I remember the first day that you actually started. I don't know if you remember that as well.
Etched in my brain, Meg. Etched in my brain. I'll never forget it.
Good. Well, that's good. I was super excited. I had also never really heard about recruitment marketing until you joined the team. I walked right up to you and said, hey, I'm Meg and I'm a candidate experience associate. I am interested in getting involved in some projects that you're working on. I'd be happy to help. So we really helped to grow the DraftKings Life accounts and really build that across social medias. And I think ultimately that brought us to the podcast. We've never really had told the podcast story or like really why we do this. So I'd say it was really stemming from wanting to give candidates an inside look into what life is like at DraftKings. I remember in our end of the year, like 2020 goals meeting with the entire people's team, Graham, our chief people officer, and George, our VP of TA, went through their goals for what they'd like. And one thing that stood out to Jonesy and I was, they said, be innovative. If you have an idea, bring it to us. We'll support you. We kind of formed it then. And since then, we've just had this little podcast start growing, and we work with so many different teams at DraftKings that all get to have hands in it, which is really, really cool. And the fact that we're supported by people in the business to make it possible is awesome. So hopefully we get to introduce you to some of the people that have helped grow the podcast over this time. Kayla was our first guest, but she helps us all the time as well.
Thank you, Kayla.
I don't know if you have anything else to add about our beginning of the DraftKings Life podcast and like why else we do it.
No, I'll say this, Meg, giving you your roses, like DraftKings Life Social started with you. I had some ideas, but you had the relationships with the business to help us get up to speed so quickly. So thank you for helping to establish our social presence. And even the podcast, I was like, hey, like you and I, like we love consuming content, whether it's music or podcasts. And I was like, hey, like I have this crazy idea. What are your thoughts? And you were like, let's do it. So thank you for joining me on this wild ride of trying to establish a culture podcast. And thank you to everyone who's been supportive.
Yeah, for real. That is, the reason we do it. When I hear candidates and employees say that they learn something new about DraftKings or the people that work here, it's really exciting. So kind of in the same realm, I'd love to hear from you, Jonesy, what your favorite thing is about working here.
So I'm going to sound like a broken record, but my favorite thing is the opportunity to take calculated risks and to be supported by the company. I mean, like this podcast is something that has never been done before here, and to like something that we talked about off the side of our desk in late 2019, and here we are, almost a year later of episodes, season 3. Anything is possible, Meg. Anything is possible. How about you?
So this is definitely my favorite question, I think, and I get it from candidates all the time. So if you've ever talked to me, you might have heard this, but it really is true. You'll always hear people say, the people are what makes this company so special. And with DraftKings, that definitely reigns true. DraftKings has such a special culture, which was something that I had been looking for and searching for. And I definitely feel like I found it. It's really fast paced. There's always something new happening. You'll definitely never be bored here. But with all that, the hard work pays off, because at the end of the day, you get to do what you love, hopefully with awesome, smart, creative coworkers that are just so fun to be around. And even remotely, I still feel like I have some of that culture and support from people too. So, I definitely say those things about my experience and what I love about DK.
I agree. So, slight pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how you have navigated internal mobility at DraftKings. 3 roles in under 3 years. What's your secret to success, and when's the book coming out?
Oh, I don't know if there's a book coming out, but I think really it mostly has to do with, doing what you love. I love working with people. I love bringing awesome people into a company that I care about. So for me early on, I was really vocal about my goals and where I saw myself early on, reaching out to you and saying, I want to be a part of recruitment marketing. I want to be creative and get to do things that are exciting to me. But I also, was given the opportunity to try some things out, recruitment being one of them. So I sat down with leadership early on and let them know the kinds of things I was passionate about, and learned more about the different paths and opportunities that I could take here. So being able to do a kind of a dual role with recruiting and helping with this podcast and other things has really just made me happy and want to work hard. So I think at the end of the day, it's important to be extremely vocal about what you want, but also to understand that it takes time to grow into these roles. You can't teach experience. And that's something that I think I've definitely learned this year, hiring for so many different positions. Starting as a candidate experience associate, I got to see the journey of a candidate going through DraftKings and making that fun and exciting. And from a TA specialist position now, I get to work on even more roles and other things that I've not been able to have a hand in. So it's been a fun journey. I'm excited for 2021 and all the new roles that, we're going to be working on. But, we keep saying recruitment marketing, and you kind of got into it with the email thing, but can you just kind of break down for our listeners what actually is recruitment marketing?
So at the highest of levels, taking marketing practices and applying that to increasing brand awareness, click-through rates, conversions, all that. The goal is to drive candidates to your career site and to your open roles. So traditional marketing, you're trying to increase the sales pipeline. I'm trying to increase the candidate pipeline for Meg and our recruiters. Have qualified candidates to sift through and ideally get into process. And so I'm one of a team of 4 now. Yeah, 4 of us globally, which is exciting. The team has grown so much in a short amount of time, and we're really working with Meg and team, who we consider our customers, and say, "Hey, Meg, what roles are you struggling to recruit for? What roles have low candidate pipeline? What type of marketing campaigns, you name it, can we help you with to increase that candidate pipeline?" We use, we mentioned DraftKings Life on social. We use a lot of social channels to really give that behind the scenes of what it's like to work here. What's the culture like, career pathing, internal mobility, things like that. So really keeping the candidate journey and experience in mind as we are working through these marketing campaigns. So Meg, be real with us. How much time does a recruiter actually spend looking at a resume?
Asking the hard-hitting questions here.
Oh, you know it.
It is a great question. We get a lot of resumes at DraftKings, a lot of really great talent. So we want to be able to look through and consider everybody. And we definitely do. I look at every single resume that comes through here. I'd say on average, though, it's really only like 2 to 3 minutes looking over everything. If you have a portfolio or a cover letter, I might spend a little bit more time, but I know what I'm looking for at this point. So, putting the important stuff where I can read it, that's actually, I think, an underrated tip. You don't need to cram everything onto a page. So the better it is for it to be readable for a recruiter, the easier it is to potentially get a chance to interview at DraftKings. So I also know it's an easy option to like add in your resume, like via LinkedIn application or whatever that is. But I think just going that extra step to apply with a resume, it'll have a recruiter look at it for a second longer than they would if it's just like your LinkedIn. So, in that same kind of wheelhouse again, what advice do you think you'd have for a candidate looking to join DraftKings?
I would say is be a sponge. Be a sponge, constantly soak up information. Even if you are a subject matter expert, there's still something else that you can learn that you can apply to the team, but also share. So, the statement, a rising tide lifts all boats. I can't tell you how many times someone will read an article and it may not pertain to, our kind of job function, but maybe there's a, nugget of information that can benefit the team. Be a sponge, but also share that information so everyone is learning and growing together. And that kind of leads into being a team player, collaboration. But be a sponge, keep learning, keep growing, but also share that knowledge with the team. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say be yourself. Of course, we want to get to know you and your experience. Also, do your research. It definitely sets you apart from other candidates when you can speak to some of the things happening at DraftKings now, or even at the very least, you can understand all of the products and things that we offer. It's really important for the interview process, and we want you to be prepared and excited. So I would say those things for sure. We are to the point of the podcast where we're going to do a lightning round.
Lightning round.
It's just going to be a minute for each of us. Jonesy and I have not shared our questions with the other person. So
this should be interesting.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Okay, so I'll ask you first. Let me get a timer going and we can start. Are you ready?
Meg, I'm nervous. Based off your Slack last night, I feel like you're going to come with some heat, and I hope I live up to expectations.
Well, we'll see. All right. Going. What is your astrology sign?
Sagittarius.
Favorite time of the day?
Ooh, 7 a.m.
Who is your hero?
My dad.
How often do you buy clothes?
I plead the fifth.
Favorite neighborhood in Boston?
South End. I live here.
How many pairs of shoes do you own? Over or under 15 pairs?
Over.
Favorite intramural sport?
Soccer.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Favorite song?
Right now,
Ooh.
it's a theme song to my favorite podcast, Still Processing. Oh man, Meg.
You're done.
I'm done. Oh.
Wow, I had so many good ones for you. I honestly I want to ask you, let's see.
What were some of the other ones?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how funny do you think you are?
I think I'm a 9, but all my friends would probably say 2.
My other one, which of the 5 senses do you think is your strongest?
Ooh, I don't know. Hearing, because I think I'm a good listener.
Yeah, I would say so too. I've got more. I'll have to send them to you just randomly.
Yeah, please do. Favorite song though right now that literally is on repeat. It's called "World Restart" by Otherness.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
It's
look
from
it up.
2014.
Nice.
So yeah, it's theme song to my favorite podcast right now. So,
Love
man,
it.
good questions.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
I guess.
Timer starts now. Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Equinox or Peloton?
Peloton.
Spotify, Apple Music, or Tidal?
Spotify.
Pick one. The Bachelor or The Bachelorette?
That's a tough question, but Bachelorette, I think.
Favorite live concert attended?
Either Rainbow Kitten Surprise or Mountjoy.
First thing you're doing post quarantine?
Going and get a drink with my friends immediately.
Favorite meal to cook during quarantine?
I've been really into like pecan salmon situation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love salmon. If you weren't a recruiter, what would you be doing?
I would be famous.
What's your spirit animal?
A puppy, probably.
Last question. What motivates you in life?
I guess just being able to get better every day and knowing that there's always going to be new challenges that come your way.
Meg got the buzzer. Well done. Well done.
I think I won.
You did win. You did win.
Awesome. Okay, so we have motto or mantra. Do you want to do yours first?
Sure. So mine is, it's always darkest before dawn. And to me, what that means is no matter how dark things seem, whether it's your personal life, professional life, whatever you're going through, light is on the horizon and you gotta be patient. What about you?
I love that. Mine this year, it kind of changes, I think, but be the energy you want to attract. Because if you're not putting that out in the world, then you can't expect other people to, and it's not going to happen all the time. You're not going to be perfect all the time, but just to remind yourself that that's, something that you're striving for, I think is a good reminder. I think I say it, I write it down in my notebook for, mantras before going to bed too.
You definitely spread the good vibes, Meg, and I think that's why you're so easy to talk to and be around, because you're constantly giving off that good energy, which begets good energy in return. So I like it.
You are too. You're giving me all these compliments. Jonesy's great as well. I'm so excited that we're able to kick off season 3 together and introduce people to us. If anybody ever has any questions or anything for us, I feel like it would be great. Just DM us on Instagram, DraftKings Life, and we're happy to answer those, at the end of this year or during the podcast at different times too. So thanks so much.
Also connect with us on LinkedIn too. I think that's the best way to kind of get a hold of us, ask your questions. If we don't know the answers, we can always connect you with people at the company. We want this to be bi-directional as we look to build our community. So yeah, please reach out to us. Meg Powers, Jason Jones, DraftKings, find us and connect. But what I will leave us with is, thank you for joining us as always. And you have to follow us on social media at DraftKings Life, because Meg and I have put too much work into that. So please follow us, engage. We would love it. And our podcast is available on all major platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google. We got you. So download, listen, and even throw us a 5-star rating. No pressure. But until the next episode, be safe, be kind, and take care.